Namaste all, welcome to the second video on Formsflow, and today we are going to look at the complex workflow of about the insurance. Okay, and then we are going to implement a small use case about the trip registration form, along with which we are going to make sure that we have intuitive inbuilt dashboards for monitoring purpose, which could range from very granular to surface level. And then I want to make sure that once I give it to my clients and it is available and used in real time, and my developers, in case of any new feature additions or to monitor or to deal any issue at a granular level, they have everything that is needed. Okay, and then I should be having something to do the user management, group management, security management. Okay, along with this, I also want to create my own custom dashboards. So I will be creating, as part of today's videos, the different custom monitoring tools which are connected to different databases. Okay, and at the end of the video we are going to also look on how the installation goes. Okay, so again we are going to make use of the documentation provided by Formsflow team, and we are going to install as part of this video in the Windows Docker desktop. Okay, now since I'm going to use Docker in Windows, I need a tool called Docker desktop. And one more thing, all these installations, okay, and there are many manual things that we are going to do today because I'm using the community version. Okay, and the only reason, again going back to the first step, the only reason that we are build implementing the small use case and not the complex one is because I'm using the community version of Formsflow. So why I am mentioning this so many times is because we are going to see how complex this insurance workflow is, and making use of generative AI plus the features that is provided in the premium version of Formsflow, how easily with the things which I'm doing in minutes and hours. Okay, the complex thing, let's say it hours, keeping it real, how I can do it with ease with the generative AI and with the premium features that I'm going to make use of the Formsflow. Okay, so with that mention, let's get started. So the first thing is, let's say as a customer, when I'm starting to inquire what are all the insurance are there, as upon my knowledge what are all could be relevant to me, I'm going to make multiple inquiries. Okay, now these inquiries could be with multiple mediums, emails, calls, messaging, and multiple things. Okay, then I'm going to get multiple responses, so the aggregation could be of many different sources. It looks so much easy, but when we are automating such things, we need to make sure that our customer has all the different types of sources available, because customer is also on a different ranges using different mediums. Okay, and then once the vendor is finalized, then customer fills few forms. Let's say one document along with few files attachment is given. Okay, and then vendor fills their details and it goes to review. Okay, once so for review there will be a separate group of users. Again, group management is coming into picture. After approval, let's say declined, again this thing goes on for multiple reasons. Once it is approved, then customer fills few more details, gives few more attachment. This again depends on company to company and insurance to insurance or type of insurance. Okay, then company specific steps will be involved. Here we are seeing there is inputs from multiple users, multiple vendor based employees, and there are many things are involved. And finally there would be a payment step, there would be document generation step, there would be again communication steps. So I kept it very very simple, just to understand what all possible things could be involved at the surface level. Of course, if we deep dive, there are more things, but still with Formsflow generative AI, and of course the name itself is AI. So with Formsflow generative AI and the premium features, we are going to build it like anything, smooth as butter. Okay, but as of today I'm going to showcase few of the features with the help of community version, and we are going to simply implement this use case where, as an end user, I want to go to an adventurous trip. I'm going to fill my details and a specific group which we are going to create our own custom group that will review it, and based on its the details that we have filled, it could either reject or either approve, and that's how a simple workflow will be happening. Now once that workflow is happening, we are going to see how the metrics are built, how the user management is done, and how it can be viewed on different platforms. Okay, Now the first thing that let's do is, before I build, I need to get some interest, right? So to do that, let me show you what is the output is going to look like once I build it. Okay, so first thing is, I'm going to show you that as a designer, you can see, right, I've logged in as a designer. So as a designer, once I log in, I have an option to create a, so this is the forms. If I click on view and edit forms, okay, let me edit this form. I can see, okay, there is few metadata like title, name, display as is what I mentioned, and I've created a panel called basic profile. In that I've added 4 items: name, age, email, phone number, and star mark. You can see it is mandatory. Okay, then I've added a gender with a radio button, and then I have added one more panel called decision action. So as you can see, once the user submits it, there is a specific group of reviewers which is going to review it. So for them, I have added decision action, okay, where they can select either approve, reject, review, okay, just to showcase. And yeah, now this I don't want the users to see, right? So what I did is, once anyone submits it, there is something called application status at every point in the workflow. It's in this part, this part, this part, every part of the workflow has something called application status. So I've just mentioned, you can see I can collect data from API, I can work on how it looks like, I can add a conditional logic. So I've said don't show it if application status is not present, because it is there only if the end user submits it. Similarly, I can play around with lots of logics and layouts and all such. We are going to deep dive later. And then I'm simply making it as a public and saving the form. Okay, once I save the form, I need to associate it with some workflow. So for that reason, what I need to do is, let me open that link for you. Yeah, this is somewhere. So if you go to GitHub Formsflow.ai examples, BPM examples, Camunda, you'll find few examples. So you can download this zip, and then you will get something called one-step approval workflow. Okay, so which is going to look something like this. Okay, this is the original one. I made few customizations, and this is my customized one. So this I'll put it in the description and in my GitHub. You can directly take it. Now what is it that we are going to do with this is, okay, before I move on, okay, if I want to develop any features, be in Camunda or in Formsflow, you must have seen we are making use of these annotations and symbols, right? And apart from this, to improve our throughput, you must have seen the templates, reusable templates and all such. But with the premium features of Formflow, what is it that I'm getting is, apart from this simple BPM and standard notations, I'm going to get much more notations and reusable components, which will of course follow the standards of BPM and 2.0. But with that feature, I'll be able to build the same workflow with much more efficiently and quickly. The reason being the kind of annotation that we are going to get. Okay, so that is one of the feature which, as I mentioned initially, hours of work in seconds. Okay, so this process we can, okay, let me go back to where we were here. So you can see something called process. If I open link in new tab, okay, we are not actually the developed one I'm showing you just to save our time. So you can choose a file, okay, and you can select what workflow you want to deploy and open. Okay, and once you open it, you can see how the diagram looks like. Okay, there is some warnings, I'm going to ignore it for now, and then you can deploy it. Okay, once you deploy it, it is available in this drop down. So for me, I'm going to click on it, and for me I see 2 workflows are there. So I'm going to select one step approval, and that's how I'm associating a form with a workflow. So as soon as in this flow the user submits it, okay, customer filled the registration form and he submits it, it is going to trigger the start request. Okay, and then my remaining thing is going to happen. So what is happening here, just let me quickly showcase in a second. So once user submits it, it will be reviewed, okay, and the reviewer will either approve or reject. As of now, I am simply updating the application status, but instead of that, we can write our own business logics, and that's how we can automate our complete business flow. Okay, now after this, what I did is, in task variable you can add, like if you click on add, you can say that there is these number of fields which are available for me in the Formsflow form, and I want to associate it with the Camunda variable. So I can click on it and I can say how it should look like on the Camunda variable. Okay, so that's how we are mapping our variables of form with the variables of the workflow. Okay, so as of now I don't want it, so I'm canceling it. And once we are done with this, we'll go to next step. Yeah, cancel. As of now I didn't do any changes, so next step. Okay, save changes, and here I'll simply select it. And okay, here what I did is, who all should be the designers once I submit it. Okay, since I'm publishing it for the client directly, it would be available for client, but it is modifiable also if I select a specific group to be able to design it further. Okay, and then submission permissions, who are the end users of it. There is a custom group which I created called demo1 group, and there is a group called Formsflow client. Okay, so I can give the access to my custom group or inbuilt group. Okay, and then who all can review? All the reviewers. So all the reviewers means there is a specific role for the reviewers, and I'm going to submit it. Okay, so that is how we are creating the workflow, and associating the form with the workflow, and we are submitting it. Okay, now once it is submitted, let's log in as a client. As of now you can see we are designer, right? Let's log in as a client. So for that I'm going to open this one, and I can see there are two forms. I logged in as a client. Okay, let me log in again, it might have expired. Okay, so I can see you client. Okay, there is a testing form, there is an adventure trip registration. I am going to submit the adventure trip registration, and here I am going to mention, okay, demo user first. Okay, and then age is 100, and then email is abcd@gmail.com, and then phone number 123456789, and gender male. Submit. So once this submission is completed, who should be reviewing it? I can say it is completed, and in the application I can see that there is one request by me which is in the new status. Okay, if I want to view, I can view it. Okay, I can see what all things have I filled it. Okay, that's fine. Now when I was filling, this was not visible to me. Now it is visible. Okay, so I will go and log in as a reviewer, which I did here. Okay, and I will go to the applications. I see there is one thing is there. Okay, but what I'll do is I'll simply go to the task, and I see there is a task created for me few seconds back. The reason being, as a user who is part of a group called Formsflow reviewer, or the group which is having access, or you can see here in the modeler we said that this should be allocated to a group called Formsflow reviewer. Here you can write ABCD, and that will be allocated to a group called ABCD. Okay, now with that mentioned, let's open this and we can see, okay, claim. Okay, now here I can see all the details, and finally I can say approve, reject, or review. At the same time I can see the same thing inside the task list. Okay, now once I approve it, you know what will happen. Okay, the status will update, and that's how our workflow is going to add. So you can see if I click on load variables, all these variables were created so far. This is where we mapped, with the help of our variables mapping, we mapped the variables of the form with the workflow. Okay, so I'm going to add one more variable, because as of now you can see there is an action variable which is not yet submitted, so our workflow doesn't know it. So either I can say it from here, but just to show you how it is associated with the workflow, I am creating that variable here itself, action, and variable type string, and I am going to say approved. Okay, same thing I've selected here, I can submit here. Okay, now I'll say complete. So we'll see, okay, that task is gone. Now in the so here now I cannot do anymore, because either you do it from here or there. If I go to application, you can see the status is approved. Now this is how the flow completely went off. Now if I, as a reviewer, if I want to go to the dashboard, and I can see adventure trip registration, total 9 submissions happened. Now in the custom matrix, there are two adventure trip registration, because one I did before, one doing it now. Of course, there is a difference in metadata, that's why it is allowing. So I can see in this one which we deployed only once, that why only version 1. If I can do the changes to the same form or workflows again and again, I can create multiple versions of it. I can see 2 are approved and 1 is null. Okay, so that's how our things are interconnected: the security, flow, workflow, forms, monitoring, everything. Okay, with that mentioned, and I can see on my analytics dashboard that there is these activities that are happened. So this is just an example of a few of the monitorings that I've created. So this action, save submission, happened 36 times. Okay, role assignment has done 5 times, login happened 2 times, assign employment happened 1 time. I have multiple processes, multiple flows. So I can see there is a default flow. I can see there is an email notification. So the why there is a difference in size, because of the number of time it is being deployed. Okay, so this is just an example of what all things available. Okay, I can see, okay, these are all the components that we have. So if I want to check for a specific, I can say again an example, just an example. Okay, now let's look at some of the cons. Okay, so if as of today I create a thing for the insurance, and I give it away for the public or cloud to for the public to make use of it. Okay, first thing that comes to my mind is, okay, how many people can make use of it? Like if I have 1 lakh of customer base, what is is it like, is the tool sufficient enough to handle all that request? So the point is here, so there is a limitation on the number of users, but again in the premium standard there is no limitation of the users. Now the reason, let's think about it technically. Okay, the reason being, in the community version I would be getting either hosting it on my system, which is not happening in real time. Of course, I would be making use of Docker, AWS, Azure, or Google Cloud. I would be deploying, right? So if I would be deploying, I will be managing everything, but I don't want to do that. I want Formsflow team to do all that for me. So with that community version, if I am getting hosted, I would be getting a limited infra. So based on that, of course, even if we think technically or non-technically, if you are getting a hosted version of community, you will be getting a limited resource, because it's free of cost for us to play around and understand. Now if I am going for the premium standard, I would have no restriction on the unlimited users. This part is clear. Okay, unlimited users, if the users are increasing, that will auto scale. If the users are decreasing, auto scale, so that it's not a hard hit on my pocket as well. Second thing, if I'm providing this solution, the solution for a client 1, excellent, community I can do. If I'm providing a different solution to a different client, perfect, it would work fine in the community version. Okay, of course with the limitation of the limited users. Now if I want to provide this solution for 3 different insurance companies, how would I do that? That's when multi-tenancy comes, providing the same solution to different clients, and they will be using the similar infra. Okay, but they don't know that the same service is being used by another client, and that is what we call multi-tenancy. Like you buy a building of 8 flats. Okay, and once you buy a building of 8 flats, the same watchman will be there, everyone will be using that watchman, but no one is getting, avoided of that service, everyone is using it. But as a builder, as a owner of the builder, I'm providing the same solution to all the 8 different flats. That's what multi-tenancy is. So that's again up to 5 tenants is feasible for me in the premiums, and there is more in terms of customize, like, of course, so I want customization in everything. So if I want more customization in the number of tenants, provided not a hard hit on my pocket, again the customized premium enterprise is there. Okay, now one more thing that it's very critical as of today for an application to sustain us. Once let's see the application. Okay, now can I say it is mobile compatible? Let's see. I'll click on F12. Okay, and I'll click on this. Okay, so I see it's responsive. Okay, but this is what this is not what I meant when I say mobile compatible. It's actually application is what I want. So if application is there, of course there is a big difference in how I can expect the customer growth on my application. So again, with the premium standard, I can see mobile application is there. Now there are many things involved in terms of development, okay, be it designing, okay, be it modeling the workflow, okay, and again in the workflow we have to write our own custom logic, right? For example, I am creating my own Java class listeners, I am creating my own script, I'm writing all those things. I don't want to do that. The reason, maybe I want it quickly, maybe I want to make use of the AI that is already available for me. Again, if I go here, I can see AI assisted development is there. Now though AI is also there, but still, okay, let's say I am a non-technical, I don't want to do anything, okay, can you customize for me based on my limited knowledge and my the requirement, or basically I want the SMA from you, from the Formsflow team, to provide a customized solution from me, okay. Again, that again I can find it here, okay. So product support, and along with product support, even solution development, everything I can get. Now second thing, let's spend some time on understanding how the installation goes. Okay, so we will go to Formsflow AI development, simply search for it, or if I search for you again, Formsflow AI deployment. Now if the first link that I open, and just an FYI, I am doing this on my Windows system and I am going to deploy it in the Docker. I can run it directly, but I want to do it in the Docker. Of course, the reason is containerization. Okay, so step one of installation, of course, is first we need to clone this. Okay, once cloning is done, before we proceed with further steps, we need to make sure that we have downloaded a tool called Docker Desktop for Windows, of course. Okay, and if you are on Linux, of course you will have a different tool, but the command line and the steps remains the same. So I am inside the deployment. So you can see in deployment Docker readme. Okay, so first thing that I need to install is Keycloak. So either I can click on this, or Keycloak is what basically identity management. So in the Keycloak I have one more readme. Okay, now in every installation you need to do the same things. First thing is you need to replace the sample.env with .env so that it can be used, and then replace. Okay, here it is not something like if I don't provide anything, these defaults can be used, but otherwise yeah, we'll see in a minute. Then right click on this, or just Docker compose up this using the command, again that is also provided. So you can simply run this command and the Keycloak will be up. So then you'll find something like Keycloak, and then you'll find a database, and then you can find the server on which it is running. So again, you can use this again in your Redash to host and do monitoring and such. Okay, once this is done, we'll go to the full deployment once again, the readme up.md. And here second thing that I need to do is analytics setup. So there's two things I will make use of. Okay, I'll make use of what it is given here. Okay, so Formsflow analytics, you can either click on here, or basically you can find analytics here, and again analytics is Redash. So again replace sample.env with .env, and then in this there is a database, and then there is a server. So here you need to replace your IP addresses. Let me see if it is there in this. Okay, so yeah, in the Redash host you need to replace your IP address, and once that replacement is done, you need to first run this for the database setup, and then this command for the applications to start. That's it, only these two things. I don't want to spend any more time on it, and once these two things are done, you will directly jump onto the full deployment. Okay, now the point is, which you might miss, listen more carefully, there are multiple more things are involved, but instead of doing one service at a time, you can just do this full deployment. Okay, replace here, and in the readme you can find all the things that you need to replace in this box. Okay, so this red flag means mandatory ones. So I'll go to full deployment. Let me see. So we are done with the analytics, and then instead of doing this separately, okay, we'll just make use of Docker compose right click, compose up. Okay, provided that you updated your IP address in sample.env. Okay, now it's a straightforward thing you can do. It will take some time, but again, if I want to host it again on any cloud environment, again I can do. But if I go with the premium version, they will do it for me. So let's go here, and you can see in AI cloud hosting. Okay, contact us for more info. Yeah, they will support GCP, AWS, Azure, um, containerization, of course, on all those platforms as well. And if none of this, I want this to be installed or hosted on my on-prem server, again that is also feasible. So all this is fine. Hosting is done. I'm able to make use of AI. I have the application available. I have multi-tenancy available, so that I provide solution, or I spend my time on creating the solution once, and I can distribute across multiple clients. And what else do I need? Let's see about the complexities, of course. So once again, if we see, there are multiple forms involved. Okay, there are nested forms involved. Okay, and I'll show you a few more things which are mandatory nowadays. It could be reCAPTCHA, it could be security mechanisms, it could be signatures. So let's create few more form. And here I can see, of course, layout is there, data is there, premium. So let's see, reCAPTCHA, resource, file management. Yeah, so in the insurance again, let's see how we are going to implement this in the coming demonstration. But there could be 10 files of 10 different formats. Okay, and it could be images, it could be gifs, it could be videos, it could be report. Okay, multimedia. Okay, and then there is a custom type, nested forms, multiple forms, which is called form bundling in our case. So if I want to host it, I want to do all these things, fine and good. Let's think of a worst case. Okay, I need to make a change, and the change varies across the flows and forms. How can I do that? I will group that with the help of form bundling, and I will deploy it all at once. Okay, be it workflows, be it forms, doing so many things at a time later on, once you deliver it, is again a headache. Okay, and a small glitch here and there is going to cause a big issue across the production environment. Okay, so again, so with the form bundling, all these issues will be gone. So I hope all the features that I'm getting along with the premium versions, and of course generative AI, are the highlights. Okay, so that is what all we are seeing today. Do the installation, try playing across the monitoring, and let me know if you are stuck anywhere, and if you have any queries across the flow or the features, do mention in the comment section. Let me know if there is any feature you want me to specifically spend more time and focus on the explanation. Do let me know. And finally, you can go on these websites to visit about their services, pricing, resources. And of course, if I don't want to build a solution, I can ask for a customized solution for me to be built, so I can give it to my clients. Okay, so that's all for today. Have a good day, and have a experimental practical day ahead. Thank you.